So now we're going to be bringing on Miss Sasha from Sasha Speaks. Hello. And let me tell you guys, so this is how I met Sasha. So when I moved to the Treasure Coast, I decided I've got to get out. I've got to network. I've got to meet other people in my area. So I did. And there were all of these women who, when they stood up to speak, sounded like they were pros and like they were in the middle of a commercial. And I loved it. And what I figured out was that Sasha was teaching them how to present themselves and how to best brand themselves.
I'm hearing double.
Oh, you are?
Are you echoing, Catherine?
Do you hear double?
I don't hear double right now.
I don't know, Sasha, dear. I don't know why you're hearing double. I'm sorry.
Sometimes I do. It just happens. That's weird.
Yeah, it's just the technology. It's okay. All right. But Miss Sasha was kind of the power behind all of this. And what she does for a living is she teaches, and you can go to sashaspeaks.com, by the way, to learn more about her. She teaches women, people, but primarily women, how to best present themselves. So Miss Sasha, can you tell us a little bit more about what you do?
When you brand yourself, do it in every way that you can, from your physical body. For example, I teach Technicolor, so I'm going to dress in Technicolor. I'm going to wear my brand. I'm going to speak my brand. I'm going to have it in my house. My car, in a way, is going to be brand. So when people see me, they think one word, Technicolor. That's the opposite of boring black and white. Don't sound like everybody else in black and white. Stand out visually, verbally, body language, and what people say about you.
Yes.
Get people to say what you want them to say. And sometimes look at your thank you notes. Listen to compliments. And sometimes people will say what you do better than you can, and then you adapt it. Here's an example. Michaela, I don't know if you ever heard about Ellen Contreras, but I was on her television show a year and a half ago, and she said, every time we finish a class of yours, we all say, we've been Sasha-fied. Now I started using it. I use it on my voicemail. I use it everywhere because she branded me from her point of view. That's worth millions.
Yes. Yeah. Yes, that's so true. And that's something that I've learned over time is to get other people. And even right now, I'm building out a product, right? So not very many people know about it yet, but I've reached out to other people and I've said, look at this and give me your feedback. And I've taken those words and put them on there. And now we're getting better response in marketing.
Just for example, I cannot say this, but I could say a client said this. So I'll put it in quotation marks. I said to him, how have I helped you? He said, Sasha took me from boring to brilliant. I cannot say I'm going to take you to boring, but my client can. So I put it in quotation marks and use it on a lot of my ads.
I love that. So how do you apply that for the people that are not entrepreneurs like you and I, but people that are job seeking? How would you recommend that they apply that?
I think it's similar because it's what you do. Don't concentrate on your title. I'm an assistant. I'm secretary. I'm a marketing director. Do not concentrate and don't tell people your title.
Yes.
Tell them the benefit of your title. Said differently, what problem do you solve? What's your solution? I used to tell people I'm a professional speaker. Who cares? Who cares? So now I tell them I help them climb the Mount Everest of speaking publicly, whether they're giving a talk, a toast, a testimonial, even a eulogy. I help them understand and whatever problem they're feeling, we work it through from their feet up.
Yes.
Not from here up. Power starts at your feet when you own the space.
100%. You have to sit right. You have to hold your face a certain way.
I would change have to want to. You'll want to. You'll want
you
to
want
do
to.
that.
That's true.
Yes.
You want to do these things. You want to project your voice a certain way. For instance, I am super loud, so I have to watch my volume.
Also quick. You're also quick.
I am. I do. I have to work on that. That's something I am still trying to master with this show, is not speaking too quickly, because unlike most Southerners, I rattle off.
That's right. And Catherine, it's not the strongest who's successful. It's one who's a little bit adaptable to whomever they're speaking. So, for example, I would say, especially for an introvert, I say to introverts, when you're working the room, I know you can nod your head, but speak 10 to 15% more. If you're by asking questions. If you're an extrovert, 50% less. Less is more. I'm one of them. Catherine, you're one of them.
Yes, and it is so true. Listening will get you so far and will help you to understand your audience, whether it's a job interview or a potential client. Listen to them, learn them. Every networking event that I go to on the Treasure Coast, I'm a little bit different, because what I've learned is that the audience is different. At every one of these events, the audience is different. Listen to them, speak accordingly.
I give you a thumbs up. Here's my Sasha-ism. And it started when 30 years ago, when I wasn't networking, Michaela. Most out there 30, 35 years ago were men. It was like an 80-20. It's really changed. It's easy to network in this century.
Mm-hmm.
Much easier. So 2 women, I overheard them saying, nobody works the room like Sasha. And I didn't know what I was doing because I was new to it. Mm-hmm. They asked me to speak to their networking group. Do you know what I did? I went home and said, what do I do? What do I do that's getting their attention? And I went back to my siblings. I'm one of 11 around the mahogany table. And I said, who got my attention when we were growing up? Why did they get my attention? Who's interesting? How come they're interesting? So then I wrote down 6 points that I do. And I realized here's the thing that I did. And then over the years, I put language to it. I didn't understand it intellectually, just intuitively. Here's what I put language to. This is my first Sasha-ism. It rules all of my networking. Every wedding, every party, every event, anywhere I go. It's more important to be interested than interesting. Because when you're interested, they find you interesting.
Yep.
Yes.
People want to be listened to. People want to know that they are interesting. So if you act interested in them, they're immediately going to be interested in you.
So that Michaela, here's the key. That's right. Ask interesting questions. You want to hear 2 dumb questions? These are dumb. Do I have your permission? Dumb questions. Don't ask this question. Are you still behaving? There's absolutely no value in that question. Yeah. And don't ask, and don't ask, how's everything? Everything is too big.
Yes. Yeah.
The quality of your answers depends upon the quality of your questions. So build your question base. Make curious, interesting, significant questions. Here, let's look at now. It's the end of the year. So I might say to Catherine, it's the end of the year. Tell me, in the last year, and then we could fill in the blank. What did you do that significantly changed? Fill in the blank again.
Right.
Whom did you meet that you said, oh my goodness, they're just having that experience. What did somebody teach you? So you fill it, ask them questions, because your goal in questions is to find their character, not their, are you still behaving? It's an annoying question to me. So somebody asked me that recently. I said, ask me an interesting question.
Who actually says that? That's a weird question. That's very off-putting.
Haven't you heard it?
They do.
No, that's
Michaela.
It's
usually men.
Like
usually
men.
Yeah, there you go. It's those guys out there. I'm telling you,
So
I get weird ones.
Start your questions with who,
Mhm.
and gradually get to it, because this is your fertilizer for following up.
Yes. Yes.
It's
And
your
Sasha,
fertilizer.
I want to follow up to this because this ties into something that Kat, the last guest, and I are always talking about, is that when whether you're messaging a potential client, right, or you're seeking a job, don't immediately ask them for something, right? That's so off-putting. If I get a message from somebody, hey, you should do business with me, I don't even know you.
Do you know
Like,
what? When I hear the word should, do you know what I think?
What?
You should be a finger.
Yeah, the
That's
finger's wagging. It's the
worst
finger
word to
wagging.
use.
I don't like the word should. And I'm
Networking is
actually
about giving. And the easiest thing to give is a genuine compliment.
Ooh.
You look great in it. Not that I like your dress. That's too much about me, but you look great in that dress. And sometimes I tease people because I'm a little bold. I say, your teeth are so beautiful. You probably floss a lot. Tell me about that.
That's super. Okay, for job seekers, don't go that specific. Okay.
I get weird real fast as a job seeker.
I don't work with job seekers a lot.
Yeah.
Right. You should. That should be a whole new clientele for Sasha. Is working with job seekers.
Maybe, but it doesn't interest me yet. So I'm going to tell you that unless they're invested in themselves, I want job seekers who want to invest in themselves.
Right.
And so
there are those
entrepreneurs.
There are, and I think too, though, on that note, I think it's so important to, like you're saying, give a compliment, and that's a great way to start. But don't be creepy, right, Michaela? We always talk about this.
No.
Don't be creepy.
No, but here's another way of giving a compliment. Michaela, hold up your jewelry. Hold up your jewelry. So I might say, Michaela, that your necklace interests me. Now, here's the part that you want to know. Is there a story behind that? So if it's intriguing, so the part that is going to get her to talk, is there a story behind that?
Yeah, that's a good question.
And may I share something that happened when I was doing a class? I was doing a class and I walked down the aisle teaching people this, and I see a woman whose name is Nilla, Nilla. And I say, for example, let me ask Nilla, your name is very different. Is there a story behind that? Oh, a smile comes, and I give her the mic, and she stands up and she says, my great-grandfather came to America and invented the vanilla wafer.
That's
and
so
she
cool.
said, then my grandfather started it, and then sold it to Nabisco, and they called it vanilla wafer. And the audience roared. Who'd have thought?
Yeah, that's amazing.
So ask that question. Is there a story? Is there a story behind your name? Is there a story behind your shoes? Something interesting. Get the attention off of you and make them, oh, let me show you. Here's what I do when I do the class. See, I believe everybody has an invisible around their neck. And it says, make me feel important. So take that off. So when I do workshops, I give everybody one of these from a company. And I have them wear it around for a whole day. Then the next day I have them take it off and see how their peers approach them. Everybody needs to feel important. So that's an invisible part.
That's interesting.
I like really enjoy that.
This is not mine. I heard this from Mary Kay Ash, the founder of Mary Kay Cosmetics. She never used it. I took her words and made a visual.
I like that, though. I like the visual element because I think it helps people to see the practicality. Yes.
And they get
absolutely.
Goosebumps.
Absolutely. So let me ask you, Sasha. So this is our Women's in Business episode, right? And you work with a lot of ladies out there. I know some of your clients. They're phenomenal. So what is your advice? What different advice do you give women than you give to men? What are some of the main differences?
I say to women, own your space. If a man is very tall, move back 1 inch and put your foot out so that you're not looking up like that. I mean, that's a little thing, but own your space. And for men, give compliments, but certainly nothing that can be taken sexually. Women, don't stand Men, don't stand like in the fig leaf position. It's like, don't
Yeah.
stand this, especially when they're speaking. Women, when you're talking, never use gestures below your waist. They're taken as negatives.
Yes.
Use it from the waist level up. Not,
Yes.
see, I'm not on the full camera, but you say, I'm really honest, and you're down in the negative department.
Yes.
In terms of speaking, women, this is very strong. Get out of the habit of saying, yeah. Say yes. Women use full sentences. You're right, Catherine. Michaela, I agree with you. Instead of yeah. It's slang and it cuts your credibility. Full sentences. Use people's names in it. That and lower your voice. If you have a Twinkie, here's men have an advantage. They usually have a lower voice. So don't talk in a Twinkie voice coming out of your nasal. I want you to think back and low. Lower voices carry more authority.
That's true. And I want you to know, Sasha, when I started laughing, so what you just reminded me of, there's the old movie Singing in the Rain, and there's that scene that lady goes, I can't stand it. That's all I could hear.
Mhm.
Yeah. But that's so true. It's so true. The lower voices do carry more authority.
I teach people how to lower their voices by getting rid of the nasal, moving back, and
the back of your throat.
When you leave a message, when you leave a message on somebody's voicemail, lower your voice, rehearse it. Don't sound like that you don't know what, and get rid of that slang. And I will tell you, you'll be taken more seriously.
It's so true.
Quickly.
Yes. And even in your writing, even in your writing, you need to, so when you are writing, you don't want to use conjunctions. Okay. You want to use the full word. So say you are, not your. So if you're putting a post on LinkedIn, make sure that you say you, things like you are, they are, that type of thing.
That is the biggest mistake. Most people put Y-O-U-R.
Oh, that too. Oh my gosh. Yes. And no grammar. Grammarly. Grammarly is a big tip of the day. Use Grammarly.
Is so good.
Yes. And Sasha, my last question for you, because this is one we're asking everyone today. And I'm sure you've seen some doozies over the years with the career that you have. What is the most ridiculous thing that someone has said to you about professional women? A misnomer that you have heard, or an insult that you have heard that was just completely ridiculous?
It goes back to the one that happens all the time. You make a suggestion and an idea, and it's not taken. I learned this when I was in my 30s. And then some guy says, you know what I think we ought to do? And so now I say, you just took my idea to the next level. I want to thank you for that. So it's stealing people's ideas.
Oh yeah. Yeah, that's not good. Well, thank you so much, Sasha. I had so much fun. I think we've all been Sasha-fied today, which we really appreciate.